I walked out to my driveway on an ordinary Tuesday morning and felt my stomach drop. My car, the one with my late wife's sunglasses still in the glove box, was gone, vanished. But it wasn't thieves who took it. It was my own daughter. She sold it to buy her husband a motorcycle, and she hadn't even bothered to tell me. What I did next erased the smug smile off her husband's face and changed every rule in our family forever. Before continuing, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and write in the comments, where are you listening from? I found out on a Tuesday morning, not because she told me, not because she called. I found out because my neighbor Frank knocked on my door holding a cup of coffee and wearing that look people get when they know something you don't. "Tom," he said, "your Accord's gone." I looked past him to the driveway. Empty concrete. Oil stain where I'd parked it for 6 years. I thought maybe it had been stolen. Frank shook his head before I could say it. "Saw a flatbed yesterday afternoon. Young guy with a clipboard. Your daughter signed the papers right there on the street." Watched the whole thing from my porch. The coffee in my hand went cold while I was still holding it. I called Melissa. 3 rings. 4. Then her voice, bright and dismissive, like she was talking to a telemarketer. "Dad, I was going to tell you." "Tell me what?" "We needed the money. Brad's been wanting a bike forever, and your car was just sitting there. You hardly drive it anyway." My car, the one I bought after her mother died. The one I drove to every single one of her college visits. The one that still had Sarah's sunglasses in the glove box because I couldn't bring myself to move them. You sold my car. We got a good price, $1,500. Brad found this amazing Harley, and it was exactly what we needed. Her voice had that edge to it. The one that said I was being unreasonable just by existing. "You can use Brad's truck if you need to go anywhere." "I don't want Brad's truck. I want my car back, Dad." She sighed like I was a child asking for the moon. "It's done. The title was in the safe, and you gave me the combination years ago. Technically, I had access. And honestly, you're home most of the time anyway. This way the car actually gets used." The title. The safe combination. Given to her when Sarah was in hospice and I needed someone to handle paperwork if I couldn't function. Emergency access. Not permission to liquidate my life. "Melissa, that car wasn't yours to sell. Look, I have to go. Brad's waiting. We can talk about this later." The line went dead. I stood there listening to the dial tone. That flat mechanical hum that sounds like the end of something. Frank was still on my porch. He didn't say anything. Just squeezed my shoulder once and walked back to his house. The neighborhood was quiet. Tuesday, garbage day, everyone at work. Just me and an empty driveway and the feeling that something had shifted underneath me while I wasn't paying attention. I went inside and opened the safe. The title was gone, so was the spare key, but the folder underneath was still there. The one I kept for taxes. The one that had every receipt, every bank statement, every canceled check from the last 23 years. I spread them across the kitchen table. Started adding, not because I wanted to, because I needed to see it, needed to make it real. Melissa's college tuition, $62,000. Her apartment deposits when she couldn't save enough, $4,000. The wedding 3 years ago, $38,000, because Brad's family contributed exactly nothing, and Melissa wanted elegant. Her car insurance for 6 years when she was on my policy, $9,000. The down payment on their house, $50,000. Brad's dental work last year, when his coverage lapsed, $7,000. I kept going. Every number had a memory attached. Every check had been written with love, or what I thought was love. Maybe it was just obligation wearing love's clothes. The total came to $194,000 over 23 years since she turned 18, not counting childhood, not counting braces or summer camps or the car I bought her at 16 that she totaled 4 months later. $194,000. And she sold my car for $1,500 to buy her husband a motorcycle. I sat there while the morning turned into afternoon. The numbers didn't change. Neither did the feeling in my chest. Like something had been removed. Something I hadn't known I was carrying until it was gone. My phone rang. Melissa. I let it go to voicemail. Then another call. Then a text. Dad, you're being dramatic. It's just a car. Just a car. The way she said just like it was nothing. Like the 6 years since Sarah died were nothing. Like the fact that I'd chosen that specific car because Sarah had circled it in the Consumer Reports magazine and said this one looks safe. 3 weeks before the diagnosis was nothing. I texted back one sentence. We need to talk. In person. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Fine, tomorrow, our place. Noon, our place. The house I'd helped them buy. The one where $50,000 of my money was locked into the walls and foundation. The one I visited every Sunday for family dinner. The one where I was always welcome until I wasn't. I spent that evening going through files. Not just the financial ones. Everything. Every card Melissa had ever given me, every Father's Day, every birthday, every Christmas, I read them all. The words were nice, generic. To the best dad, thanks for everything. Love you always, always. That word, doing a lot of work. There was one card different from the rest, handmade, construction paper and markers, from when she was 7. Inside, in careful block letters, you are my favorite person. Love, Melissa. I put that one back in the box. Put the box back on the shelf. Some things you can't calculate. The next morning I got up early, showered, dressed in the navy shirt Sarah used to say made me look distinguished, made coffee. Didn't drink it, just needed something to do with my hands. I arrived at their house at 11:55. Brad's new motorcycle was in the driveway, glossy black, chrome exhaust. Probably worth 3 of my Honda. I parked Frank's borrowed truck on the street and walked to the door. Melissa answered wearing yoga clothes and an expression I couldn't quite read. Not guilt. Not quite defiance. Something in between. You didn't have to come this early. It's 5 minutes before noon. She stepped back to let me in. The house smelled like expensive coffee and the vanilla candles Brad's mother kept sending them. The same mother who hadn't contributed a dime to their down payment. Brad was in the living room. He didn't get up, just nodded from the couch, controller in his hand. Football. Game on the TV. Hey, Tom. Not, hi, Dad. Or even, hey, Mr. Patterson. Just Tom. Like I was his buddy. Like he hadn't just benefited from the theft of my vehicle. We need to talk about the car, I said. Melissa gestured to the chair across from Brad. I didn't sit. There's nothing to talk about, she said. What's done is done. I thought you'd understand. You're always saying we should be more financially independent. By stealing my car? Stealing? Brad looked up now. That's a strong word. What would you call it? Repurposing an asset. He grinned like it was clever. Come on, man. You're retired. You've got the pension. You don't need a car taking up space in your driveway. Taking up space. Like my possessions were an imposition in my own life. I need you to get the car back, I said quietly. Melissa's face changed. Hardened. That's not possible. The money's spent. Brad's bike was a cash deal. Non-refundable. Then you pay me back. Pay you back? Her voice went up half an octave. Are you serious? After everything you've done for us, you're going to nickel and dime us over a used Honda? After everything I've done. Exactly. Something in my tone made her pause. Brad's controller went quiet. What's that supposed to mean? She asked. I pulled the folded paper from my jacket pocket, the one I'd printed that morning. Every transaction, dated, categorized, totaled. It means I've spent $194,000 supporting you in the last 23 years, not counting your childhood, just since you turned 18. And you sold my car without asking because I hardly use it. So I'm wondering what the exchange rate is. What's the formula? How much of my money buys how much of your respect? I set the paper on the coffee table. Neither of them touched it. You kept track? Melissa's voice was small now. You kept receipts for everything? For taxes? For records? Not for this. Never thought I'd need them for this. Brad picked up the paper. His eyes moved down the columns. I watched his expression change. Watched him do the math. Watched him realize he was living in a house I'd partially paid for, sitting on furniture financed by his wife's father, playing games on a TV that probably traced back to one of my checks somewhere along the line. This is manipulative, Melissa said, using money to control us. I'm not using anything. I'm showing you facts. You made a decision about my property. I'm making a decision about mine. What decision? I looked around the room. At the crown molding we'd installed together the first month they moved in. At the ceiling fan I'd hung because Brad couldn't figure out the wiring. At the paint color Sarah and I had helped Melissa choose because she couldn't decide between eggshell and cream. I want my name off this house. Silence. Complete. Even the TV seemed to hold its breath. You can't do that, Brad said. I'm a co-signer on the mortgage. I can absolutely do that. I'll need you to refinance without me, assuming you qualify. Melissa's face went white. We can't qualify without you. You know that. That's why you co-signed in the first place. Then you'll need to sell. Sell? She stood up now, hands shaking. This is our home, and that was my car. The equation hung in the air between us. Simple math, brutal in its clarity. You're seriously going to make us homeless over a car? I'm going to stop being financially responsible for people who treat me like a bank instead of a father. Brad stood too. He was taller than me, broader, used it to try to intimidate. Step closer. I didn't move. You can't do this, Tom, Mr. Patterson. And yes, I can. His jaw clenched. I could see him calculating, weighing options. He looked at Melissa. She looked at the paper on the table, at the numbers that told the truth her words kept avoiding. We'll get you a car, she said. We'll figure something out. Just don't do this. I don't want you to get me a car. I want mine back. The specific one. The one with your mother's sunglasses in the glove box. The one she picked out. That car. That's impossible. Then we have a problem. I walked to the door, put my hand on the knob. Melissa's voice stopped me. Dad, please. I turned. She was crying. Real tears. Not the manipulative kind. The kind that came from actual fear. You made a choice about my property without consulting me, I said. You decided what I needed and didn't need. You decided my things were yours to distribute. So now I'm making a choice about my money, about my name, about my liability. This isn't punishment. It's just boundaries. Boundaries? Brad's voice was ugly now. This is revenge. No. Revenge would be calling the police about the stolen vehicle, reporting the forged title transfer. This is just me stopping the flow of money from my account to your life. I opened the door. You have 6 months, I said. That's how long I'm giving you to refinance or sell. After that, I'm calling the bank and starting default proceedings. Your choice. I left them there, walked to Frank's truck, started the engine, backed out while they stood in the doorway watching. Melissa was still crying. Brad had his arm around her. They looked like victims, like I'd done something terrible to them. Maybe I had. Maybe boundaries look like walls when you're used to open doors. I drove home, parked in the driveway, that empty space where my car used to be, sat there for a while. The afternoon sun was hot through the windshield. The neighborhood was quiet, sprinklers hissing, someone mowing a lawn 3 houses down. My phone started ringing. I turned it off. Inside, I made that pot of coffee I'd abandoned that morning, sat at the table, looked at the numbers again. $194,000, 23 years, a lifetime of yeses. Maybe it was time to learn how to say no. The thing about drawing a line is you have to stand behind it. Can't just threaten, can't just posture. You have to mean it, and you have to follow through. I gave them 6 months. They used 2 weeks. First came the calls, dozens of them. Melissa crying, Brad angry, both of them explaining why I was wrong, why I was being unreasonable, why family doesn't keep score. Family doesn't keep score. The anthem of people who've been winning the game. Then came the visits. Melissa showed up alone on a Saturday. Found me in the garage organizing Sarah's old gardening tools. I'd been putting it off for 6 years. Seemed like the right time. Dad, we need to talk. We've talked. Not like this. Really talk. Without Brad. Just us. I set down the trowel Sarah used to love. The one with the yellow handle. Looked at my daughter. She'd lost weight. Had circles under her eyes. Good. Maybe that meant she was thinking. Okay, I said. Talk. She sat on the workbench, the same spot where she used to sit when she was little, watching me fix her bike or build her bookshelves or whatever project she'd invented that required my time and hardware store trips. I didn't know, she started. About all the money. I mean, I knew you helped, but I didn't know you kept track of everything. I didn't keep track for you. I kept track for the IRS. Still, seeing it all listed like that, it feels different. Different how? She picked at her cuticle. Old nervous habit. Like you were collecting debts. Like every birthday present came with interest. That's not what that list was. That list was proof. Context. You told me I hardly used my car. I showed you how much I'd been used. The math is just honest. Neither cruel nor kind. Just true. But it feels cruel. Maybe that's because the truth usually does when you've been avoiding it. She looked up. Her eyes were wet again. I used to soften when she cried. Used to fold. Not anymore. Tears are just water. They don't change facts. We can't refinance, she said. We tried. 3 banks. Brad's credit is worse than we thought. And my income alone won't cover it. We'd need a co-signer. You have one. Me. I'm just removing myself. We'd need a new co-signer. Then find one. Who? Brad's parents are tapped out. My friends are in the same boat. There's nobody. Then sell. She stood up. Paced. The garage suddenly felt smaller. You're really going to do this. You're going to make us sell our house. I'm going to remove my financial liability from your life. What you do after that is your choice. It's not a choice if we can't afford it. Then maybe you couldn't afford it in the first place. The words hung there, heavy. True. She knew it. I could see it in her face. The realization that the house, the furniture, the lifestyle, all of it had been built on my foundation, not theirs. I thought you wanted us to have a good life, she said quietly. I wanted you to build a good life. There's a difference. What's the difference? Building means you carry the weight yourself. What you had was me carrying it while you pretended you weren't leaning. She wiped her eyes with her sleeve, looked around the garage at all of Sarah's things, the tools, the plant pots, the sun hat hanging on a nail. Mom would hate this, she said. She'd hate us fighting. Your mom is dead, and you're right. She would hate this. But she'd hate what you did more. What I did? Sold a car? Took without asking. Decided for me what I needed. Treated my property like community resources. Your mom spent her whole life teaching you about respect, and you sold the car she picked out without even telling me until after. Melissa's face crumpled. Real grief now, not manipulation. She sank back onto the workbench and cried. Big, shaking sobs. The kind that come from actual remorse. I let her cry. Didn't comfort her. Didn't pat her shoulder or tell her it would be okay. Just stood there holding Sarah's trowel and waiting. When she finally stopped, she looked at me with red eyes. What do you want me to do? Get my car back. I told you, the money's gone. Then earn it. Get a second job. Sell the motorcycle. Pawn your jewelry. Figure it out. You found a way to take $1,500 from me. Find a way to give it back. And if we do, if we somehow get the car back, you'll stay on the mortgage? No. Her face fell. But I'll give you 12 months instead of 6. Time to improve Brad's credit. Time to increase your income. Time to find a legitimate path forward. But the car comes first. Non-negotiable. Dad, that's the deal. Take it or leave it. You have until tomorrow to decide. I walked past her. Into the house. She didn't follow. I heard her leave a few minutes later. Engine starting. Gravel crunching. Silence. That night, I couldn't sleep. Lay in bed looking at the ceiling. The same ceiling Sarah and I had stared at for 37 years. Through job, changes and illnesses and Melissa's teenage years and the diagnosis and the hospice bed we'd brought into the living room at the end. Sarah would have hated this, the fighting, the ultimatums, the spreadsheets. But Sarah had also been a math teacher. She believed in equations, in balance, in showing your work. And the work here showed a daughter who'd forgotten where she came from. Melissa called the next morning at 8. Okay, she said. We'll get the car back. How? Brad's selling the motorcycle. Already listed it. And I'm picking up weekend shifts at the hospital. We should have the money in a month. And then what? Then we buy back your car. If whoever bought it will sell, they will. I called them, explained the situation. They're decent people. Said if we pay $1,800, they'll return it. That's what they paid plus their trouble. Silence on her end. Then, you already called them? Yesterday, after you left. You knew I'd agree. I knew you were. Out of options. More silence. I could hear her breathing. Controlled. Measured. She was angry. Good. Anger means you're paying attention. 12 months, she said. You promised. Car first. Then 12 months starts. Not before. Fine. She hung up. I sat there, holding the phone. The house was quiet. Too quiet. Had been for 6 years. Used to be. I filled the silence with visits from Melissa. Sunday dinners. Holiday gatherings. Drop-by hellos. Now, I had boundaries instead. Turned out they were louder than I expected. The month passed slowly. I tracked it on the calendar. Not because I didn't trust Melissa, because I didn't trust Brad. He had a way of making problems disappear by ignoring them until someone else solved them. But Melissa surprised me. Called every week with updates. The motorcycle sold for $1,200. She picked up night shifts, 3 per week. They cut their expenses, canceled subscriptions, stopped eating out. Did the math. The math. Like father, like daughter. On day 32, she called, "We have it! 1800! Can you reach out to those people?" I did. Made the arrangements. The couple retirees named Helen and Don were kind about it. Said they understood family complications. They'd kept the car garaged, hadn't driven it much. Still had Sarah's sunglasses in the glove box. That detail broke something in me. That they'd kept her sunglasses. That they'd treated my car with more respect than my own daughter had. We met in a grocery store parking lot on a Saturday. Neutral ground. Helen and Don in my Honda. Me and Melissa in Frank's truck. Brad stayed home. Probably for the best. Helen handed me the keys. "It's a good car. Took care of her for you." "Thank you," she smiled. Sad, understanding. The look of someone who knew this wasn't about a car. I gave the keys to Melissa. "You drive it back to my place." "Shouldn't you? You sold it. You return it." We drove, in convoy. Me following her. Watching my car. In front of me. The bumper sticker Melissa had put on when she was 16. Still there. Faded. Proud parent of an honor student. She'd made honor roll once. Sophomore year. I'd been so proud, I'd bought the sticker the same day. She pulled into my driveway, parked exactly where it used to sit, got out, stood there looking at it. I parked Frank's truck on the street, walked over. "Here," she said, handing me the keys. I took them. They felt heavier than before. Or maybe I was just more aware of their weight. "Thank you," I said. She nodded. Didn't look at me. Looked at the car. "I didn't know," she said quietly. "About Mom's sunglasses. About why you chose this car. You never told me. I shouldn't have had to. I know that now." We stood there. Afternoon sun. Sprinklers. Someone's dog barking. The ordinary sounds of life continuing while everything felt different. 12 months, I said, starting now. Get Brad's credit fixed. Increase your income. Find stability. And maybe learn to ask before you take. I will. Not just with things, Melissa. With my time, my energy, my money. Ask. Don't assume. Don't decide for me what I need or don't need. I'm your father, not your resource. Her face crumpled. She turned away, shoulders shaking. "I'm sorry," she whispered, "for all of it. For not seeing. For taking advantage. For making you feel like an ATM instead of a dad. I know. Do you forgive me?" I looked at the car, at the bumper sticker, at the sunglasses on the dashboard, at all the ghosts we carry with us. "I'm working on it," I said. She left. I watched her walk down the street to where she'd parked Brad's truck 2 blocks over. Watched until she was gone. Then I got in my car, started the engine. It turned over on the first try. Reliable, just like always. I sat there listening to it idle, smelling the interior. That specific smell of a car you've owned for years. Familiar. Home. I picked up Sarah's sunglasses. They were dusty. Lenses smudged, but intact, whole, still there. I put them back on the dashboard, put the car in reverse, backed out. Didn't have anywhere to go, just needed to drive. Needed to feel the wheel under my hands. Needed to know that some things, once lost, can be returned. The 12 months went by. I kept track, not obsessively, just aware. Melissa called once a week, updated me. Brad got a better job. She got promoted. They paid down debts, improved their credit score. Slowly, painfully, but actually. We had dinner sometimes. At my place. Not every Sunday like before. Once a month, maybe. Stilted at first. Then easier. Brad was quieter now. More careful. Like he was learning a language he hadn't bothered with before. Respect. That was the language. Turns out it's hard to learn when you've been fluent in entitlement your whole life. Month 11. Melissa called with news. We got pre-approved, without a cosigner. Barely, but we did it. That's good. So you'll sign. Off? Release yourself from the mortgage? Yes. When? When you tell me why you did it. Really why. Not the bike, not the money. Why you thought my car was yours to take. Silence. Long enough, I checked if the call had dropped. Then, because you always said yes. To everything. Every time I asked for help, you gave it. Every time I needed money, you had it. Every problem I had, you solved. And somewhere along the way, I stopped asking and started taking. Because the yes was automatic, guaranteed, like gravity. And you thought that was love. I thought that was what fathers did. Some of it is, until it isn't. Until it becomes enabling. I should have said no earlier, should have let you struggle. But your mom was sick, and then she was gone, and I didn't want to lose you too. So I said yes when I should have said no, and you learned the wrong lesson. What lesson? That love is transaction. That I'm valuable for what I provide, not who I am. Her breath caught. That's not true, isn't it? When's the last time you called me when you didn't need something? When's the last time you visited when there wasn't a problem to solve? Silence again. The kind that confirms what you feared. I'm sorry, she said finally. I didn't see it. I really didn't. But I do now. Good. Then we can start over. Not from scratch, but from honest. I'd like that. I signed the papers the next week, went to the title company, removed my name from their mortgage. Officially, legally, completely. It felt like amputation, like relief, both at once. Melissa sent flowers, a thank you card, the handwritten kind. Inside, for everything, then and now. Love, Melissa. P.S. You are still my favorite person. I put it on the fridge, next to the construction paper, one from when she was 7, the one that said the same thing. The magnetic clip held them both, proof that some things can survive, some things can return. I still drive the Honda, every day, sometimes, nowhere in particular. Just drive, feel the steering wheel, listen to the engine, look at the sunglasses on the dashboard. They're a reminder of Sarah, of Melissa, of the cost of love when you forget to charge interest on your own worth. But mostly, they're just sunglasses, dusty, smudged, still there, like me, still here, still driving, still learning that no is a complete sentence. And sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is stop giving everything away. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments what part shocked you the most. To listen to the next story, just click on the box on the right side of the screen. Thank you for being here.